They promised luxury villas and an exclusive, sun-drenched island paradise, like the ultimate once-in-a-lifetime getaway for the absolute elite. But when thousands of people actually paid the massive price of admission and stepped off their flights, yeah, they arrived to unfinished disaster tents, total chaos, and literally zero escape. So what happens when a multi-million-dollar Instagram fantasy violently collides with reality? This is Decode Station. Today, we're breaking down the Fyre Festival illusion. We're going to investigate how an event that honestly never truly existed became the most talked about festival of the decade. We'll look at how the actual architecture of modern social media was weaponized to build a trap. In this explainer, we're looking directly at the evidence to deconstruct exactly how a massive mirage was successfully sold to the entire world. Part 1. The luxury illusion, manufacturing FOMO. Okay, so the entire premise of Fyre Festival was built on a very specific, incredibly potent idea. It wasn't just marketed as your standard music festival. No, this was sold as a transformative, high-end luxury experience set in the pristine, untouchable beauty of the Bahamas. It wasn't just about the music. It was about the absolute status of simply being there. And their marketing strategy? Brilliantly executed but entirely deceptive. The organizers completely bypassed traditional marketing and went straight for social media manipulation. They deployed this massive army of high-profile influencers and top-tier models to simultaneously post a coordinated orange square. You probably remember seeing it. It flooded digital feeds with impossible glamour, creating an absolute digital stampede. By weaponizing that massive hype, they engineered a severe fear of missing out. And that FOMO, it drove astronomical ticket sales for a lifestyle people were just absolutely desperate to buy into. To actually seal the deal, they offered highly specific, irresistible bait. They promised attendees their own luxury, eco-friendly villas on a secluded private island, an island they claimed was formerly owned by Pablo Escobar. They promised private yachts ferrying you across crystal-clear Bahamian waters, world-class gourmet food prepared by celebrity chefs, and these exclusive VIP experiences that money could barely buy. And it worked. Thousands of people looked at these promises, implicitly trusted the digital influencers broadcasting them, and blindly wired massive amounts of money for tickets and elite packages. They bought the dream, literally without a moment of hesitation. Part 2. Architect of the hype, the man behind the curtain. At the center of all this was Billy McFarland, the charismatic entrepreneur and founder of Fyre Festival. He was the visionary out there selling this incredible, flawless narrative to the public, to the influencers, and to the people actually funding the multi-million-dollar operation. But here's where that carefully crafted narrative completely fractures. While promotional videos featuring supermodels were being edited to cinematic perfection in New York, McFarland's physical island site in the Bahamas lacked, well, everything. Building a city's worth of infrastructure takes years, right? But they were trying to do it in weeks. They failed to build even basic necessities. We're talking no plumbing, no adequate housing, no sewage system, and absolutely no logistical plan to support thousands of human beings suddenly arriving on a remote patch of land. The foundation of the festival was rotting from day one. And the depth of this manipulation was absolutely staggering. McFarland maintained the lie at all costs. He projected immense success and wealth, while the physical reality of the event was completely impossible to deliver. And it wasn't just a few gullible ticket buyers who were fooled here. As source documents and investigations later revealed, seasoned investors, top-tier influencers, and excited attendees were entirely deceived. McFarland created this crazy reality distortion field where the digital hype completely masked the impending physical disaster. The illusion was total, and everyone bought in, completely unaware of what was actually waiting for them. Part 3. Paradise turns to panic. The reality check. Just imagine this for a second. Imagine spending your life savings boarding a flight filled with anticipation and then dropping right into a brutal reality check. Because this was the exact moment the mirage broke. Attendees stepped off their flights expecting to be escorted to exclusive, pristine luxury villas waiting for them on the beach. Instead, they were greeted by the terrifying reality of unfinished, soaking wet disaster relief tents. I mean, these were literal emergency shelters left over from hurricane relief efforts, just scattered haphazardly across a gravel and dirt lot. There was no assigned housing, no concierge, zero luxury, and immediately a severe lack of safety. It was basically a free-for-all in the dark. And that jarring contrast extended aggressively to the most basic of human needs. Remember those promised world-class celebrity chef gourmet dining experiences? Completely vanished. In their place, attendees were handed plain, processed cheese sandwiches in styrofoam boxes, just thrown onto folding tables with a side of wilted lettuce. It's iconic now, but at the time, the utter lack of substantial food, clean water, and basic organization immediately sent the crowd into a total panic. People realized instantly that not only was the luxury missing, but their basic survival needs were in severe jeopardy. They weren't VIP guests anymore, they were stranded. Part 4. The viral collapse, the island trap. The sheer speed of the collapse is staggering. Days before the gates even opened, the facade quietly began to crack. Major headlining artists realized the setup was a catastrophic failure and pulled out of their performances. Yet the organizers kept quiet. They actually allowed flights to take off, so by the afternoon of day 1, guests began stepping off planes into total chaos, waiting hours for literal school buses to take them to a barren campsite. By nightfall, it was pure survival mode. Complete mass panic set in. Guests became entirely stranded on the island as darkness fell, literally fighting over leftover disaster tents and feral, damp mattresses. Hundreds were locked inside a small airport terminal with no food, no water, and no flights out. They were physically trapped in the paradise they had paid to visit. The event rapidly devolved from a disorganized party into an infamous, dangerous disaster. And the crazy part? It played out globally in real time. Fyre quickly became one of the most notorious internet-age scams as the backlash went aggressively viral. And there's a beautiful poetic irony here. The very tool used to build the festival, the hyper-connected, image-obsessed world of Instagram, became the exact broadcast network for its violent collapse. Attendees, desperate for help, began posting raw videos of the soaked tents, the sad cheese sandwiches, and the sheer panic. That pristine digital illusion was shattered in an instant for the whole world to watch. The fallout from all of this was swift, severe, and relentless. The immediate aftermath involved massive, sweeping fraud investigations by federal authorities. This was quickly followed by multi-million-dollar class action lawsuits from devastated investors, unpaid local Bahamian workers, and, of course, angry attendees. Ultimately, the architect of it all, Billy McFarland, was convicted of wire fraud and sent to federal prison. The digital hype machine had very real, very devastating legal and financial consequences for absolutely everyone in its blast radius. Part 5. The Internet Age Mirage, Fake Luxury and Social Media. To truly understand this disaster, we need to zoom out and define exactly what happened here. This was a manufactured reality. It was the absolute weaponization of social media aesthetics and influencer culture to completely obscure the truth. You see, Fyre Festival was really just a symptom of a much larger, fascinating cultural shift regarding how we consume information. The internet age allows illusions to be built and sold on a massive global scale. If enough beautiful people post the same highly curated image, if the exclusivity feels authentic to the algorithm, well, the physical truth simply no longer matters, at least not until it's far too late. The screen literally becomes the reality. Which brings us to the core of our investigation today. Why did thousands of people so easily believe the illusion? Why did seasoned, incredibly smart investors hand over millions of dollars? Why did top-tier influencers risk their carefully protected reputations without doing a single background check? Because honestly, we are all incredibly vulnerable to internet hype. We desperately want to believe in the paradise on the other side of the screen. We want the status, we want the lifestyle, and we want the escape. Fyre Festival proves that a carefully curated aesthetic can completely override our basic fundamental logic. This wasn't just a poorly planned concert or a failed event. It was an internet-age illusion that showed us exactly how easily reality can be manufactured and sold to the masses. Stay curious, stay skeptical.